My name is Jay Sugarman, and I want to welcome you to Innovation Showcase. The main purpose of this ongoing series is to inform viewers about exciting innovations and creative individuals across the fields of business, science, technology, education, and the arts. Today, via Zoom, we're fortunate to have as our guest two highly accomplished artists, Sinikka Nogelo and Melody Phaneuf, both of whom are members of the Cape Ann Artisans, a collective of artists and craftspeople based in Gloucester and Rockport. During the program, Sinikka and Melody will be informing us about their outstanding artistry, and we'll also find out about the upcoming Cape Ann Artisan studio tours taking place on October 11th and 12th. Let's start by meeting Sinikka and Melody. Welcome. So delighted you're both able to be here.
Well, thank you. I'm happy to be here.
We have a lot of fabulous images of your artwork and want to hear your thinking behind them. And I think we'll start right away with you, Sinikka. Welcome. Would you start by please sharing just a little bit about your background, perhaps artistic, professional interest, and then we'll enjoy some of your work.
Sure. Thanks so much for doing this show, Jay. Well, I started oil painting in junior high school and then went back to it when I went to art school after college, when Montserrat opened up in Beverly. And I had worked in business for a few years and started a family, and then painted full time for a couple of years, watching the kids. And after that, opened a gallery center in Maine. I was a founding member of this cooperative that was on Main Street in Gloucester. We were all women because at that time, women did not have very many opportunities to exhibit. And so, of course, I had a part-time job, and that helped support this art career because we had also at that time a new television station. So I thought, oh, this is visual. I will go and learn video. And that turned into a full-time job, which I adored for most of my working years when I had to make a livelihood that way. It was absolutely terrific. And so now I've been a full-time artist again for 15 years. I'm still mostly a painter, but I do one sculpture a year as well, and enjoy all my artistic relationships and groups and my fellow studio mates.
That's fabulous, fabulous. Well, as I mentioned, we're fortunate to have a number of images related to both of your work. And let's start hearing a little bit more about yours, Sinikka, with this piece here, Open Sesame.
Now that one is interesting because it's a palette. I don't actually use palettes. I use canvas as palettes. I like to lay out all kinds of colors, even if I use a limited palette, because I don't always know where my work's going to go. Sometimes at the end of the day, I have a lot of paint left. So it's my practice to take that paint and just do something with it and then leave the studio. And often I get delightful pieces because by the time I get to cleaning up and doing something with with the leftovers, I am so loose. And so this was so much fun to do. And I wound up calling it Open Sesame because it looked like it was entering into a doorway.
Definitely, definitely. Oh, fabulous to hear that backstory. Can definitely appreciate it even more. How did this next piece come about? What was the inspiration for Don't Get Crude on George's Bank?
Well, back in the 80s, I believe it was the 80s, we had a very big political issue because they wanted to drill for oil on George's Bank. And that, if people aren't familiar with our coast, is one of the most fertile fishing grounds to be found, and certainly not a place where oil should be. When we had the BP oil spill, I had done a painting about that. And this one, in the background, I have basically the beautiful ocean and the feeling of the ocean, and then I have splattered it with oil. And so it stands alone as a painting, even if you don't know the story. But that is what inspired it and what I was looking to say.
Oh, even more telling with, again, hearing you give the background information of it. Now we're going to step out to another way that you express yourself, and that's with some outdoor installations. This one at Salem State University, Tangled.
Oh, yes. The Maudsley Outdoor Sculpture Show is the most wonderful thing that I accidentally became involved with. I was going to meetings at the Abstract Artists of New England up in Newburyport when the leader said, "You're crazy enough, you should apply to Maudsley." So I, and that is a direct quote. So I immediately looked into it. And what they do at Maudsley is they have a theme every single year, and then you can apply to become a Maudsley artist. So the first year the theme was blue, and I was accepted and did my first sculpture. And this one is about my seventh or so.
Ah.
And this one, the theme was intersect. And I started out to make just tangling lines on four different sides, four different designs. But as I started to do the paintings of them, I thought about intersect more, again in another way, because once you start designing, you want to do other things. So I decided to think about intersections, traffic intersections. So in each of the sides, I have in my design hidden a problematic place, and the one that you're looking at with this red one in the foreground, that would be Five Corners in Rockport. One of the sides has hidden in it what we affectionately used to call Malfunction Junction, which is 12893. Another side has Gloucester. It has Railroad, Maplewood, and Prospect Avenues that has a pole in the middle. And the people in town can navigate that thing like a beautiful symphony, no problem at all. If you're not from town, we know it. And the final one is Beverly's new little rotary, which is on the left panel there. Mm-hmm. And that one actually improves the traffic, but it is hard for strangers as well. And on the top, I basically made, I like to use found objects and recyclables in my art. And one of my younger grandson used to play with little cars all the time. He played ferry, and every single, he had 100 cars, he'd put them on the ferry, take them off the ferry. So I had no problem finding found objects for this sculpture. So around the top, I have parked cars as though they're in a traffic jam that is just bumper to bumper.
Oh, great.
And then, as a nod to classic ellipses, I've, tangled together some wire hangers that I had used in a previous sculpture. I had put 3,000 of them in a piece, if you believe it. And then on the top, I've put cars in helter skelter, so that because accidents do happen. But so it doesn't matter whether you know my meaning or not. It's a lot of fun to make. It's kind of fun to discover. And it is classic, even though it just was made nowadays. And the top of the ellipse is a nice little round ball instead of a pointy pyramid.
Wonderful, wonderful. And for these final few pieces, we first want to see just another way that you expand your work here with wall hanging kitchen eggs. A few words about this, please.
This came about when they were first publicizing the gyres in the ocean with the plastic. And that coincided with the time that they started to package eggs in plastic. So I thought, well, that's one step too far. So I started to take the plastic that was in my own kitchen counter, my normal trash flow, and put it into these cartons. I didn't want to point fingers at other people, but I wanted to get the message done. And I would fill the egg cartons, and I was planning to just put them up on plexiglass and hang them on the wall. I planned ahead of time how that would happen. But as I started making them, I discovered that it's the same as any other painting. Pretty soon you're going, oh, it needs a little dark there, it needs a little red there. So you start designing anyway, even though you thought you were just stuffing black plastic. And as I kept doing it, pretty soon I'm getting contributions from people. Oh, I like this piece of plastic, and so forth. And
Terrific, terrific. Even in the limited time we have, wonderful to see the range of your work. And in closing, the next couple minutes that we have, Sinikka, a couple of words about some of your recent work.
okay, now these get very personal because I do like to, um, do my thoughts, feelings, opinions, just whatever happens in my own life. And my husband had passed away. And generally, I deal with grief through art. And it took me a very long time to actually begin to do art about that. And um, I just started by, I had not drawn in years, but I always used to have colored pencils. So I started sketching. I just wanted a little notebook sketch for myself so I would remember
Mhm.
the incidences I had after he died. And uh, by the sixth or fifth or sixth one, all of a sudden, I wasn't trying to replicate what I had seen in a vision, but art took over, and I made it. It transformed to this kind of drawing, which I found very exciting. So I did probably 9 or 10 sketches, and I am still painting that. Now I'm painting that theme. Um, my paintings don't follow these precisely, but it just keeps going on and on and on. Um, I don't ordinarily work in a series that just is all in the same time frame.
Mm.
Uh, Usually, you can find a series over time that, oh, this one relates to that, which relates to that. But this time, I guess when I am doing grief, I do keep doing it at the same time. So now I've got four in the studio that are acrylics that still just need a little bit of finishing.
Mm. Oh, thank you for sharing that personal reflection. And the minute we have left before we enjoy Melody and some of her work, uh, just a word about this other more recent exploration.
Well, this year I've taken a few workshops. I tried jelly printing for the first time, and it was so loose and so much fun that I incorporated it with the stain painting I had already basically done. The red had already been painted, and then the maroons and the more detailed work is my first venture at actually incorporating jelly printing into my painting. And I call this one Phoenix. And my latest new thing is I just took a workshop in collage and ink. I never worked with ink before. And so I'm looking forward to, okay, I'm going to have jelly printing, ink, whatever else now joining in.
That's fabulous. I admire hearing about your continual growth, looking for new avenues to express yourself. I know we could talk much more, but for now, we're going to move on and enjoy Melody and some of your reflections. Would you start, Melody, by also sharing just briefly a little bit about your background and artistic interest,
Sure.
please?
Sure. I went to a small commercial art school in Boston called Vesper George. And there I discovered that what I really wanted to do was paint. So I moved on from there to the museum school. And then from there to study with a portrait painter at Fenway Studios. And I was at Fenway Studios for many years before I came to Gloucester.
What's the inspiration or motivation for your work?
It depends. The still lifes very often are storytelling.
Hmm.
I loved as a kid mythology and things and picture books. So a lot of times I'll start off with an idea and try and express that idea by different objects that I set up and arrange, and then choose the lighting and so forth to see if I can express that idea.
Well, we're fortunate to have some of your work. and we're going to enjoy it now. Can you tell a little bit about this piece that you call Desert Dreams?
Yes, I did this after a trip to Santa Fe to visit a friend. So I
Hmm.
just happened to have um, these objects. I had this rug and various things that I'm always picking up at, secondhand stores and so forth. And when I came back, I was visiting a friend in Rhode Island, and she had this skull, and she said, "Do you want this?" And it was perfect. It just was a way to put this whole thing together. So, you know, um, it was
No.
mostly just reflecting on my time in Santa Fe.
Mhm. And just a word here for this piece, but maybe in general about your process of how you start out. Do you have a typical routine? Do you sketch? Do you just dive right in and see how
I
things
often
go?
do something like this is fairly simple, so I'll put it together and start right away. If it's a little more complex and it's very important that things are placed in certain areas, I might do um, a small sketch to figure out how to crop things. When I first started painting and I wanted things exact, I would do a very
Mhm.
detailed charcoal drawing and actually transfer that onto the canvas. So over the years, I feel a little more confident that I can just do it without a lot of preparation.
Now, exquisite colors, as we're going to see throughout your work coming up. And here, how about a little bit about the background of the storytelling involved here?
Well, this one is called The Seeker, and I've always been interested. I grew up in a very quiet, very secluded um, area up in the Lowell area, a place called Dracut, and
Mhm.
spent a lot of time alone. So I was always wondering about, who am I? What am I doing here? What's going on? So this exploration of always seeking through different
Mm.
methods of spirituality, consciousness, it's always been a fascination. So um, when I came up to Gloucester, there was, which is now the cultural center, there was a church on Rocky Neck, and out front, you could just, there was a bunch of objects, and you could just leave a donation. And this trunk is actually
Ah,
something I got from that church on Rocky Neck. So
nice.
it all kind of came together. And of course, when I first came up to Gloucester, I was very interested in, the area, Salem and so forth, and became involved with trying to understand tarot cards and,
Mm,
very I Ching, which is the book that the crystal ball is on. So just, various opinions on our existence and what
nice,
this is
nice.
all about.
And this next one, Fool, speaks to what you mentioned in your initial remarks about setting things up in your studio.
Yeah.
A couple of words of what you're after here, what we can appreciate.
Okay. I don't see the image. Did you change it? Yeah, there we go. Okay. Yes, so again, from the tarot card, this was around the first of the year and thinking about the beginner's mind, Zen mind, beginner's mind, and the Fool. Um, so I had this jester, and I had this from the local thrift store. I had this pedestal that I hung on the wall. And then I just made I made the bag that he's carrying when he's walking off the cliff. And the little dog,
Mm,
my mother collected dolls, and one of the dolls that she had was um, from Over the Rainbow.
Oh.
And this Toto, it was part of the Judy Garland's, when she,
Wonderful.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I just put it all together just to express, the new year and new beginning.
Oh, just so much fun. Very wonderful. And one more enjoyable one before we sort of switch scenes, so to speak.
Yep. This is from the Hymn of the Pearl, which is a Gnostic tale. And it's, this very evocative tale about a soul coming down from on high and descending onto the earth plane. And his mission is to rescue the pearl from the serpent that's guarding it. And the serpent is just a shadow in the background here.
Oh,
But
yeah.
it's about coming from wherever we come and becoming material on the earth plane.
And we're going to
It's really a lovely tale, easy to find, the Hymn of the Pearl. So if anyone is interested, to look it up. But it's very,
wonderful.
yeah, it's very evocative, visual.
Wonderful. And now we're going to move out to another sort of specialty of yours or different landscapes here. This one might be familiar to a lot of people in Gloucester, the Cut Bridge at twilight.
hmm Well, this, I live with this. I just happen to live right around the corner from
Mm,
this. So this is a big part of my life. Um, and I also think it's really aesthetically pleasing. I really have been interested in the mechanics of this and how it opens and closes.
mm,
And down underneath it's just sort of interesting. It seems like you're going into some kind of workshop or something with, you can see a little bit of the mechanics of it underneath. And
mhm, mhm.
and it's just a nice time of day because the lights are on and the reflections. That's really what I enjoyed about this, the
Now,
night light, the
now,
transition into nighttime.
now, having had the opportunity to walk there several times, you've captured it so well. And then
Thank you.
these next few take us into some different landscapes. For
Mhm.
the sake of time, just a few words about the next one here, Disappearing Dragon.
Yeah. The nickname of this area in Essex, Cox Reservation, somebody coined it, maybe Arthur Dow called this the disappearing dragon because these
Mm,
wetlands fill, they go with the tides. So this just happened to be a moment where it was disappearing. And what emerged were these beautiful mud colors and reflections of the sky. And it just made a nice abstract pattern, particularly at the time of year where the grasses start turning orange.
mm, yeah. Oh, but to have that eye that you possess is really remarkable that you can appreciate that and then bring it to life the way you do. Just fabulous.
Thank
And
you.
this other outdoor setting, the labyrinth.
Yeah, this is actually in Block Island, which is a place that I go every year or two to visit and do some biking. And this is an area looking down, there's a labyrinth that is dedicated to the memory of someone who has passed. And you can walk the labyrinth.
Hmm.
And there's just this really beautiful view from the top of the hill. And I love rooftops. I love the abstract design of the rooftops against, you know, it
No,
so
just wonderful, just wonderful. And the last piece that we're able to enjoy for our time now is marshlands in Essex.
yep, this is again the same place as the disappearing dragon, but a different point of view up close,
Mm,
um, looking into the marsh, facing more towards Essex. So
mhm.
this is a wonderful place that has all kinds of, I paint there often because it just has beautiful, beautiful color any time of year.
Nice, nice. You know, fabulous that we've had this opportunity to highlight both of your work. Just a glimpse, much more to find out, and we'll have some contact information in the credits. In the few minutes we have left, interesting to hear just a little bit about your involvement with Cape Ann Artisans and the upcoming studio tours. Um, Sinikka, what has been the value of being a member of the Artisans for you over the years?
Well, when I first joined, I missed being the person that goes on the tour. I had a habit of bringing friends or relatives and going together and discovering all these other neighborhoods in Gloucester. It's a way to see a new community that is just very
Hmm.
precious and not available to people. And then I would find this. I remember the first time I saw Pam Stratton's work, I was absolutely blown away. And she, of course, is a mosaic artist who is really wonderful in her craft. And it has a koi pond and a tree in her yard that has mosaics all over it, and wonderful mosaics inside, and one studio after another. There's just a fabulous experience. Um, it's almost indescribable. If it's wintertime and you want to be at the beach, you go see Rob Debo. He's all over in the waterfront.
Yeah,
And
we get just a hint of the range of artists and craftspeople by the image that we see here. Just a brief insight into the craftspeople that we see listed on the posting as well. Thank you. Melody, a little bit about your involvement or reflections about Cape Ann Artisans, please.
Well, I've always loved open studios. When I was at Fenway Studios, we did the open
Mm.
studios every year. So um, to know that there was that opportunity here was a wonderful thing to segue from Boston. The thing I like about it most is people coming in and being able to chat with them about their experience of looking at the work and their experience of the other artists on the tour. It's also a nice way to have a community of people, other artists that you're working towards a goal to try and, you're hosting people to come to Gloucester. So there's a lot of effort that goes into these tours, and it's really nice to be involved in it and to work with the other artisans.
Terrific, terrific. Well, I hope people take advantage, definitely encourage people to make their way to the area October 11th and 12th to see the
Mhm.
range of artists and to hear and see more of both of your work. But unfortunately, for now, we've come to the end of the program. I want to thank both of you so much for taking the time to be here. Been so informative, and just want to wish you continued success with future endeavors.
Thank you, Jay. Thank you for the opportunity.
been wonderful. Thank you.
Also want to thank those of you watching for joining us and hope you'll be able to tune in next time.